Alright everyone, hello and welcome back to Ask the King for March 2016. This is part 3. There may be 4. We'll have to see how long I go here. If you haven't seen the first 2 parts, definitely check them out because there were some great questions, some good answers, and I hope that I've been entertaining you so far. Let us continue because I still have a lot of questions to get to. Alright, so, next question. Here we go. This is a good one actually, and I'm glad that this person asked this question. Here we go. Phil, I know that you said you never have any interest in doing an MMO playthrough for DSP gaming due to how long and drawn out those games are, but I'm curious about if you were into any MMOs before you started on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I vaguely remember you saying that you played a popular MMO back in the day, either EverQuest or EVE Online or something like that. I asked because the 2000s were basically the golden years for the MMO genre. RuneScape and World of Warcraft were at their peak, as well as Final Fantasy XI and EVE Online. Just wondering if you played any of those for any extended amount of time. Thanks. And that is from Barack Obama. Yes, that's right. President Obama asked me a question, so of course I have to answer. So, interesting question. I've talked about this in the past, but I don't know if I've ever done a full explanation of how I've played MMOs. Because the bottom line is, I've pretty much played all the big ones, alright? The first huge MMO that really went into the 3D realm was EverQuest, the original EverQuest. And I played that game. I played it at launch, and I actually played it a little bit later on. At launch, the game was incredibly fun. It was something so different to interact with so many people online at once. It was unheard of. You would never have had that kind of online interactivity with so many people at the same time. But having that kind of online community posed lots of issues. I remember when EverQuest first launched, the bugs. Oh my brother, the bugs that game had. I still remember to this day. I'd played the game for like a week. And I had a lot of good loot, a lot of armor, equipment, all this stuff. And the way that the game worked, if you died in that game, you had to get your body, go to where your body was, and you'd retrieve all your loot. Okay, get everything back. Your money and everything. After playing the game for a week, I was in a cave. I was doing I still remember, I can even see it in my fucking head, the cave. It was full of high-level goblins and stuff. I was fighting these goblins and stuff myself. I was soloing at the time. I was doing solo. I wasn't with a group of people. And as I was doing this, the game glitched out. I fell through the floor, which you're not supposed to, you just phased right through it, to a lava pool under the floor. So apparently there probably was multiple levels in this cave, and I didn't get down there yet. Into the lava pool, dead. Now, I couldn't get my stuff back because my body was in a lava pool. So a week of gameplay was basically wasted because all my loot was gone, everything was gone, and I got so pissed the fuck off. And there was just really abusive shit. That was when people started doing player killing and, you know, really just being dicks to people. Man, the trolling in that game was crazy. You'd have enemy factions standing right outside the door of your gate. You'd be like right there, like standing right there. So a newbie would step out. Oh, look, is this the open world? Oh, hi. And immediately get killed by someone of another race. There was some really bad stuff in that game. But it was also the first game like that. I almost have to say, EverQuest was the precursor to World of Warcraft in a lot of ways, okay? After EverQuest, the next MMO that I played was, if I remember correctly in chronology, I think it was Final Fantasy XI. Now, I played that game with people, of all people, people from Street Fighter. I knew people across the country who played Street Fighter. I talked with a lot of them in online chats and stuff. And I think I played it for about a month, hardcore with these guys. Every night we'd log on, we'd be playing. And after a month, I just got so bored of it. Like, there wasn't too much interesting in the game. And quite honestly, after that month, a lot of the guys who were playing kind of got bored of it, got burnt out, and said, this game isn't very good. I played World of Warcraft with multiple different people over the years. When it first launched, I was playing with Street Fighter people. Then I ended up befriending other people online, other communities. And I played it multiple times in the 2000s. And I actually really like World of Warcraft. Now, I haven't played it in over a decade. So the game could be completely different now than how it was when I played it. But I liked it. I thought that it was a lot of variety in the gameplay, depending on what class you were. I liked the visual style, even though it was a lot more cartoony than other MMOs at the time. I liked the visual style of it. And I really did enjoy the game a lot, the multiple different times that I played it. Now, I actually stopped playing it around the time when raids, like high-level raid events and stuff, became commonplace. Because when I was playing it, most people weren't high-level yet. You know, it was almost the earlier stages of the game. But I enjoyed it. That might be a game that one day I would like to, just for the fuck of it, just to go back and see what it is. Because I haven't played it in so long, and there's still, I realize that the user numbers for that game are going down now, but it's been such a freaking long time since I played it, and the fact that I used to like it, I maybe one day will go back to it. We'll see, but can't do it right now anyway because it's a PC game. And you know what happens with that when I try to do PC games, right? The only other major MMO that I really participated in a big way was City of Heroes and City of Villains. I loved those games. I played City of Heroes for like 3, 4, 5 straight months. And I had a character. I had multiple characters, first of all. I had one that was more of a fast style character. He kind of had like a bandana on. Oops. He had a bandana on. He could shoot projectiles and stuff. And I had another one that was like a big burly guy. I had a friend who created a character that looked just like Zangief. And he would go do, he had a move that was almost like the spinning clothesline, and he was a tank, so it was awesome. It was like what you would expect Zangief to be in a game. And we played the hell out of City of Heroes, and then when the City of Villains expansion came out, which basically was the flip side, I did that. I created a villain, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed City of Heroes and City of Villains. Now, were they revolutionary? Did they redo the MMO? No, but they have some interesting things in them that I really enjoy. And to that day, too, those are games. If those games still existed, which, by the way, I don't think City of Heroes and City of Villains exist anymore, okay? They didn't have the longevity like fucking World of Warcraft did. I would love to play that, too, because that was one that I sunk a lot of time into, and I remember the sound effects and everything. I can remember. I had a guy who did an axe hammer blow like this, and every time he did that, every enemy around him would get launch up and land on their ass. It was hilarious. He was like, boom, and it'd make a sound effect. It was like, and they'd go, wow, and they all fly and land on their asses. I really enjoyed that game. So that's my history with MMOs. I played 4 pretty big ones in the 2000s. I wonder if anyone would ever be interested in seeing me play World of Warcraft. I don't know. But anyway. Alright. Next question. Okay, this is an interesting, well, not really interesting, but a timely one, because this is interesting to address from time to time, even though I'm not going to go too much into detail, so don't worry. From Hannibal Zapilo, he says, "Hey, Phil. Why are there so many detractors trying to ruin your business? Is there any way to help you to deal with these people? How do we spread the word in 2016 that your content is becoming, great in this year? How do we support you without Patreon? Because honestly, I only have so much disposable income. If you can answer this, thanks." All right. I'm not even going to go into why I have so many detractors. The bottom line is a viral movement on YouTube to take negative stuff out of my playthroughs, because I was one of the few people doing raw playthroughs, okay, and was known for doing raw playthroughs. I would upload the good with the bad. A viral movement to make montages of only the fail moments and the rage moments of my playthroughs made me look like a jackass. And I had absolutely no recourse against it whatsoever. I couldn't take down the videos. I couldn't even find a way to defend myself because the videos just constantly went viral. Therefore, there's a large group of people on the internet that dislike me and think that I don't deserve any kind of success. And off of that offshoot, there's been tons of things that have happened. Some people that are angry at one particular thing I said here and all this shit. So there's a million different reasons, all right? When you're on YouTube for 8+ years, chances are you're probably going to have a lot of people that don't like you for one reason or another, okay? How do you spread the word that DSP Gaming is going to be a great year in 2016? Well, that I really can't answer, because I don't know, quite honestly, how you would spread the word when everyone hears DSP, Darkside Phil, or DSP Gaming. They say, "Oh, that's that jackass that sucks at games, right?" And he blames the game developers on every single video. No, not at all. But that's what people believe, because they got this group mentality, this sheepish mentality to just believe what we're told by a meme, right? You can show them a video where I don't do that, which is probably more than 50% of the videos I put out. Show them something great. Say, "Did you see his Until Dawn playthrough?" None of that happens. It's amazing. Like, it's really good. Everyone loved it. It was one of his best playthroughs of the year in 2015. Here it is. Did you see his Fallout 4 playthrough where he went super in-depth and did all this cool stuff? Did you see this? Show them the stuff that's blatantly contrary to that bullshit that they learned from the internet memes. I had a person, I talked about this before, a person on the forums who said they had only heard negative shit about me. They couldn't find a new This Is How You Don't Play video, so they started watching me play Firewatch, and they loved it. They were like, "This is nothing like what people say about Phil at all. He's taking his time with the game. He's listening to the commentary. He's not blaming game devs. He's having fun with the game. Wow, I don't even understand how this has become the mainstream belief about Phil." Because people are stupid. Because people just want to laugh and be negative and be sheep. They don't want to actually fucking think for themselves and go out there and find that I've uploaded over 40,000 videos to YouTube in 8 years, and the majority of them aren't what people say about me. It's that simple. Okay? Too fucking lazy. So, show them something direct contrary to the negative shit they're saying about me, right? How can you support me without Patreon? You don't have to do Patreon. Seriously, like, so many people say that. But I wish I could do Patreon, but I can't, so I can't support Phil. That's completely false. Watch the videos. Obviously, like and comment on the videos if you like them and you want to leave a comment and you have something to say. All that helps me, brings me up in YouTube rankings. Spread the word, like I just said. Tell people about the best stuff I'm doing. There's probably tons of people right now that just hate my guts and have no idea that I'm doing edited, in-depth reviews, that I'm doing more vlogging this year. They just think I'm that jackass who rages at games and does poorly and makes a living doing it, and he has no desire. He doesn't deserve anything he gets on YouTube, yada, yada, yada. The whole spiel that you've heard since 2012, right? Also, social interaction. And I want to say this. This is a big one. Why is it that I have over 20,000 followers on Twitter, but when I say something important on Twitter or something pertinent on Twitter, I could barely get anyone to even, like, retweet or favorite or even say anything? Why is it that there's jackasses on the internet who literally say stupid shit every 5 seconds on Twitter, and they get 500,000 fucking retweets and shit? And I'm not even talking people who have big followings. People who have around the same following as me. They say the dumbest shit on Twitter. Like fucking vapid, airheaded, dumb, dunderheaded shit. And they fucking get all this attention. Because I'll be honest, social media is huge right now. Twitter is giant. And when I started on YouTube, I was like, I don't want to do Twitter. I don't want to be part of it. And now I realize what a big driving force it is. There's people, YouTubers, the reason they're popular is because they have such a social media following. You know, it's not about really the videos they put out. It's the fact that they put out a video, but then they follow up on Twitter and there's conversations that go on and people retweeting and blah, 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 blah. Social interaction is also huge. So, you know, Twitter and all that, commenting on YouTube videos and stuff like that is huge. And that's going to, you know, help get word out. You know, I put out videos about important stuff, and if people don't use social media to spread the word will not get out that I did it. It's that simple. It'll get buried under everything else on YouTube because I don't have that reach or that clout anymore that I used to because of all the negativity from the years. All right? Okay. Let's keep going here. The next question is from a man called, or a woman, I don't know who it is. It could be either. The Liars Lie. It's very true. The question is, hey Phil, since you're a big wrestling fan, I'm wondering what your thoughts are about Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Since the stipulation is that if Shane wins the match, he takes control of Monday Night Raw, do you believe that he's going to win the match? If so, do you think Shane will do a good job to trying to make Monday Night Raw or WWE in general a great show to watch again? A lot of people don't actually know the truth behind everything going on in WWE right now, so I will reveal it in a moment, but I normally would have done like a one-off vlog about this, except I had done a vlog about Fastlane, the pay-per-view, and then that same night, Monday Night Raw happened with Shane McMahon coming back, and I was like, that's too much wrestling, so I'll talk about it now, all right? Shane McMahon walked out of the WWE in 2009. A lot of people don't know this. They just think, oh, he's been off TV for a while. No, he had a huge real-life disagreement with his dad, Vince, okay? Because his whole life, he busted his ass working for Vince. He did shit jobs. He refereed for a while. He was a commentator for a while. Then he came on to be an on-air personality. He wrestled. He did everything his dad ever asked for him. And then, when it was time, around the time when you would think, gee, Vince is going to pass the company on, Vince started giving more power and responsibility to Stephanie and her husband, Triple H, almost kind of saying, well, it looks like the business is going to them instead of Shane. Shane got so pissed, he left WWE. And he legitimately, this isn't like a storyline, he legitimately had a lot of issues with Vince, okay? He's been gone for a long time. All of a sudden, out of the blue, he comes back on a Monday Night Raw to say he wants to take over Monday Night Raw, and Vince puts him in a match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania. So let's logically fucking think about this for a minute, all right? Number one, it's a storyline. It's not real. Shane didn't magically come back and interrupt. It's all scripted, all right? Understand that. It's not real life behind the scenes shit. So maybe Shane and Vince did actually make up, and Shane agreed, I'll come back and try to spruce up the product, especially because ratings have been way fucking down recently. All right, and they thought maybe having him come back after 6+ years being away would be a huge shocker to everyone, and it was. You know, it got the attention that I think they were looking for. But is Shane coming back full time, or is Shane coming back to do one last job for his dad? You know what I mean? And I almost kind of feel that it may be the latter and not the former. Like, maybe Shane's going to come back, he'll do this match, he'll be on TV for a few more months, and then this will be it. This is his final run in WWE, so that at least they could say this was his final run, rather than the way that he just disappeared from the WWE in 2006. So, I don't know. I don't know how to take this, all right? Here's the deal. I'm not massively excited. I'm not impressed. I'm not hyped. Like, all the stuff that everyone's talking about. Oh my God, Shane McMahon came back. This is so good. We have to watch Raw every week now. I can't wait for WrestleMania. Why? Shane McMahon, number one, is not a wrestler. He did wrestling, but his profession is not professional wrestler. So what the WWE has done is taking yet another guy who is not a full-time professional wrestler for the company and pushed him to the main event of WrestleMania. You know, like The Rock, you know, like they do every year, Batista, and everyone complains when they do that, but all of a sudden, because it's Shane and we haven't seen Shane in 6 years, it's okay for Shane to come back? No, it's the same fucking bullshit, and I'm pissed that, again, WWE has not built their own talent up enough that they feel that they could do a legitimate match against The Undertaker with anyone. That's stupid shit. Okay, that's number one. Number two, why the hell is Shane wrestling The Undertaker? The Undertaker, as everyone knows, needs to retire soon. He's older. He's still a good wrestler, but he can't wrestle often anymore. And quite honestly, he shouldn't be wrestling often anymore. People would like to see him go out on a high note. This match at WrestleMania, just think about it. If Undertaker wins, what the hell was the point of Shane McMahon coming back? Because there was nothing. It was like a month of hype before WrestleMania. He gets squashed at WrestleMania. So what was the point? No Monday Night Raw change, nothing, right? So ultimately, you would think Shane McMahon is going to go over. But how? There's got to be some crazy stipulation. How has Shane legitimately beat The Undertaker in a one-on-one matchup when you think about it? He wouldn't. He couldn't. He hasn't even been in the WWE for how many years? So obviously, there's going to be some bullshit in the match that's probably going to happen. If The Undertaker does lose, the thing is, this is the big match for Undertaker. Everyone was actually hypothesizing this would be The Undertaker's final match in the WWE because it's WrestleMania. It's in his home state of Texas. What would it be awesome to see Undertaker in this final match in the home state of Texas at WrestleMania? Yes. But it seems like he has to lose. Losing against Shane? That's how you say goodbye to your wrestling career? Losing to Shane McMahon? You couldn't put someone over that deserves it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. Like, this whole situation, I'll be honest. My take on the situation, I think WWE is fucking desperate. Not to say that they're bleeding money, because they're not. But their ratings are getting worse and worse. And the advertisers are going to start pulling out soon if they can't do something about it. And so what do? When it's WrestleMania season, you don't have John Cena, who's available to hype everything up for you, you know, and get the casual crowd to watch WrestleMania this year. You can't get Hulk Hogan, because he's still kind of embroiled in this fucking racism bullshit that he's been involved in, right? So you got all this stuff going on, and it's like, what do? Well, what's the one thing, the one rabbit in our hat, the one ace in the hole, right? Shane hasn't been on TV in 6 years. Bring him back out of nowhere. Build up this hype out of nowhere, and maybe people will actually want to see WrestleMania. It's done zero for me. Literally nothing. I'm interested in seeing AJ Styles at WrestleMania. I'm interested to see Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the mid-carders at WrestleMania. I have no fucking interest in Roman Reigns versus Triple H, and I have no interest in Shane versus The Undertaker. I want to see the talent that they're fucking trying to build, right? And the people like and respect actually get into the limelight at WrestleMania. And the bottom line is, how many of them actually will? The people who you see on Monday Night Raw every fucking week, half of them won't even be at WrestleMania on TV. Because they gotta have time for the bullshit. Their stupid agendas and shit that they gotta push. So, I don't think it's a very good thing, quite honestly. I don't like the angle. I think it's kind of silly. Alright. Next question. If you could choose to buy a new camera for your vlogs today, what would it be? And what would it most add to how your videos are compared to your current camera? That's from Atlas Telemon. First of all, yeah, a lot of people have asked me the question, whatever happened, Phil, to the idea of you raising money through Patreon to buy a new camera? Because all last year, you had it as a stretch goal. You raised around $400 for it. You said you wanted to raise maybe $850 to get a really good camera. And then the goal disappeared, and I did explain it, but a lot of people didn't get the explanation, so allow me to explain. I wanted to get a really good camera. I wanted to get one that does 1080p, 60 frames per second, has a large lens so that the footage isn't fuzzy. Right now I'm using a webcam that's fuzzy. That's why it doesn't look so good. If I use a camera with a large lens, the videos will look much better. Crisp, clean, right? Higher quality video. The larger the lens, the better the video will look, period. That's just a given in photography. Is the larger the lens, the better your picture is going to look, okay? So, also, I want to get a mic input, okay? Because I want to be able to use this camera anywhere. I don't want to just have it limited to my office. Like this camera here, webcam, is limited to my office. My camcorder, my hand camcorder that I use, my Panasonic, is kind of crappy. It's very fuzzy, doesn't come out clear at all, and the microphone isn't great on it. And so I wanted to get a high quality camera, large lens, 1080p, 60 frames per second, mic input so I could have a mic too. Then I could go do stuff like my plans were to do like green screen stuff in my garage using the mic so you don't hear the massive echo of my garage, and that it would be high quality stuff I could use to integrate into videos and vlogging and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we all know what happened last year. For those of you who don't, I'll review. Number one, I had false copyright strikes against my YouTube channels for using fan art. And not only fan art, but any kind of art. People found a way to abuse YouTube's copyright system. So any kind of thing that I have in a video that I don't own could be claimed. So immediately, it completely destroyed the idea of me ever using the green screen. Because I can't appear in front of anything. I'm not even kidding you. Anything can be matched. So if I, any game that I wanted to be in front of, any fucking picture that I wanted to be in front of, anything, they'll just fucking flag it and I'll get a copyright strike. So immediately, I can't even use the green screen. After all the work I put in to building the thing in the fucking garage, I had all these plans. I had a plan to do all kinds of stuff with Fallout 4. I was saving bottle caps for almost 6 months so I could do scenes in Fallout 4 where it was like currency and I could joke around with bottle caps and stuff like that. And because of the bullshit, because of these fucking stupid kids, these fucking teenage losers, all right, I got fucked and I can't ever use the green screen until YouTube fixes its copyright system, which, as you know, if you've been watching my vlogs recently, doesn't seem like they're going to. They don't give a fuck. So I'm fucked in that regard. That's number one. Number two, I lost thousands of dollars in revenue from the months of September to December of 2015 because my channel, my YouTube channel, dropped out of YouTube search rankings. So all the natural views that I would bring in when I was playing all those big AAA titles in the fall went away. And now my views are down because of this. Directly result of this, my views are fucked. And there's no way I can fix it. All I can do is just keep working and plugging away and hoping my channel eventually crawls itself back up the YouTube search rankings, but it probably will never go back to where it was. I've been around, this channel's been around since 2010, so almost 6 full years, right? How many gaming channels that are out now can you say, wow, that channel's been around for 6 years, putting out tons of videos to get high in search rankings and stuff. And all that was taken away from me last year because of dumb fucking children and YouTube's bullshit. So, unfortunately, I can't buy a camera right now. I'm barely paying my, you know what I mean? I gotta make ends meet here, pay my bills. Any money that I make anywhere, Patreon, ad revenue, anything that I make has to go towards me in the business. And I can't do any significant equipment upgrades. If people say, why don't you get a new PC? No way I could afford that unless it's an absolute necessity. You know what I mean? Like I can't spend $850 on a camera that, yes, it will improve my visual quality of my vlogs, but I can't use green screen anyway, so the whole idea that I had there is out of the question. And, that money is better spent trying to pay my bills and pay down my debt and stuff like that, especially because of the dips of income that I've had, okay? But I didn't have a particular camera model in mind. To answer the question finally, I didn't have a particular camera model in mind. It was just I was looking for a camera with certain features, and whatever camera would have the features that I want, that would have been the camera that I would have gotten. But unfortunately, that's all off the table now. Okay, Next question. This one is from Bleary Line 7, and he says, Phil, given the recent release of Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, a surprisingly feature-heavy and content-packed game, do you think more about what other games have to offer at full retail price? It's seemingly rare to find a game nowadays that launches in a fully functioning state, with lots of modes and gameplay variety, and no microtransactions or season pass being pushed down your throat at launch. I know the quality of a game's content is more important than the sheer amount of it, but it's extremely frustrating to see so many games released in barely functioning states, with entire game modes, character skins, and even difficulty settings not being available, and sometimes locked behind a DLC paywall. These are the kind of tactics that should only be tolerated in free-to-play games, not ones that you're asking the same price as a game like Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, or any other game that just gives you a full game for a full price. I want to know your thoughts on the matter. Well, I've been addressing this a lot in the past 2 years. And primarily, I think what we're talking about here are these multiplayer-based games. Games where they think that just because they've given you a few multiplayer modes that may or may not addict you, get you hooked on the game and the gameplay, right? That you're going to pay $60 for it. Just off the top of my head in the past few years, games like Titanfall, games like Destiny. Yeah, I hate to say it, Destiny, because that was a complete lying in their ad campaign about what was actually in the game until later. Then later they added the content that they claimed was going to be in the game at start. Evolve, excuse me, Evolve in particular. Just this past year, games like Star Wars Battlefront, Rainbow Six Siege, right? No narrative, no story, no campaign or single player at all online multiplayer based. You pay $60. You play it for a few hours, you've seen everything in the game, and if you want more, you have to pay more money. And then you look at a game like Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. The game has a 7+ hour long single player campaign, has an open world area for you to explore with tons of hidden stuff, side questing, items, collections, missions that make the game a lot more replayable. 7 classes on each side, which how many games today can you say you have 7 fucking classes at launch? On each side with other unlockable variations of the classes, tons of variety in the online gameplay, plus not only online competitive multiplayer, but a survival mode for both sides of the gameplay as well. Like, talk about a full-fledged fucking featured game. Garden Warfare 2 has more content than most of the games I've played in the past 2 years. Alright? But people write it off, oh, it's a kiddie game. It's Plants vs. Zombies. I don't like that game. Unbelievable. I mean, how biased they are and how silly they are that they would write a game off because of the visual style of the fucking game. It's nuts. But I digress. Yeah, this is the problem. These game developers, at this point, are realizing that the common gamer, is a lot more savvy, and they're a lot less gullible. Gamers are no longer rushing out to buy every single AAA release anymore because we've got things like advanced reviews online and we've got all this information. We've got YouTubers playing the games and you can see if the game's good or not at launch. So because of that, they're losing faith in let's sink $40 billion into a game, and you know what I mean? And a few examples of games that these studios were counting on being big hits and flopped. Resident Evil 6 was one of the biggest examples. This is a game that they put insane amounts of money in, Capcom in particular. A 3-pronged campaign with 3 different groups of people fighting through different storylines, different kinds of monsters, and they really were banking on that game being a big hit, and it basically flopped by their criteria, and they lost money on the game, okay? So what these game studios are doing are saying, fuck it. We're not going to take that gamble anymore. Instead, we're just going to do the bare minimum. We'll give you a game that has a few game modes, a few characters. You play it, you pay $60 for it, and you get addicted to it, so you get your friends involved, and you start playing it, and then if you want more, pay us more later. And it's like, how do people fall for that shit? I don't know. Maybe some people, here's the thing. Some people aren't like me, at least, where you're looking for a complete gameplay experience, and you have a limited amount of time to play a game, and you know that you want to get quality out of that game and quantity out of that game during that period of time, and you're looking for certain criteria. Some people aren't like that. Some people are like, well, I only have a couple hours a week to game. I'm looking for something that's going to have replayability, and, every time I play it, I'm going to maybe only jump into it for an hour or so, but it's going to be fun during that hour, and I don't need any kind of significant investment of anything into it. I can just jump in and out of it whenever I want. And those kind of, I think, are the people who are buying these games. Star Wars Battlefront. A game where after you've played it for 5 hours, you've done everything in the game, and you're like, what am I supposed to do now? And then you realize the classes are unbalanced and the game's fucking broken as shit. But there's some people who bought that game and they play it, you know, a couple times a week and they love it because they're Star Wars fans, they're casual players, they're not hardcore players, they're not looking to get to an upper level of the game, and they enjoy just jumping in and kind of playing it for a little bit at a time, and that's it. And I think those are the kind of people the core audience is for that. So now, let's say that you're that kind of gamer. You've been playing this game for 3 months, you play it for maybe 5 hours a week, right? So after 3 months, now finally maybe you're starting to get burnt out on it. Oh, there's an expansion, a whole new map, and a bunch of new characters. I'll do that, 20 more bucks, right? Because this is the only game you're playing, and you play it casually. You know, the hardcore gamers aren't going to go for this shit, but the more casual might. And I think that's where it is with these games, these that are being sold incompletely, is it's a casual audience. There's Titanfall 2 is coming out. Titanfall 1 was a piece of shit. Titanfall 1 was such a joke. It was such a cliche, exactly as you expected, do nothing outside the box, revolutionary at all kind of game. Had almost no content at launch and was barely even worth playing for any fucking reason. Even to make a review, it wasn't worth fucking playing. Sequel, because it sold, because people bought it. It's like, oh my god, like, are they gonna fall for the same shit again? You know what they say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So, I don't know. But when you've got great games from the same fucking publisher. Garden Warfare 2 is made by EA, just like Star Wars Battlefront. And the game has like 4 times as much content as Star Wars Battlefront. And the game plays better than Star Wars Battlefront, by the way. It's a better game when it comes to competition at a competitive level. It's a much fucking better game. So, but then that's the thing. Oh, well, that game's cartoony. It's Plants vs. Zombies. That's for little kids. And they skip it. And that's why you have games like Star Wars Battlefront and Titanfall and Evolve and more coming out recently, because people fall for it. It's unbelievable. All right. I think it's time for a break. Yeah, it is time for a break. And then we'll come back and we'll finish up. I've got one more page of questions. So I think one more part will be enough. It's going to be a 4-part Ask the King. I knew these questions. I was going to have big detailed answers. This was going to happen. So stay tuned. I'll be back shortly with the conclusion of Ask the King. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in a bit. If my mouse would work. There we go.